All right. We live March 17, 2023. Uh, it's been a long day, but I'm feeling really good because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And just wanted to get on and talk about the first thing I'm going to talk about is the upcoming spring equinox. Uh, Very exciting. I hope that y'all are all getting ready to do a couple of days of fasting, juice fasting, water fasting, dry fasting, raw food diet, or just eating less, something. But I'm really excited about, after I talk about the spring. And this is really, I'm a summer baby, right? Middle of July. So I always love the heat, but as I've gotten into this cycles, as an adult person, I've really I really come to appreciate the springtime. I really love the springtime. I mean, one of the nice things about being here in Washington D.C. is the blossoms, and it's really beautiful. And you can feel it in the air. It's just coming off that winter. It's just such a welcome energy. Again, you see the trees coming back to life, and for years, I don't know how many years now, I pretty much only do yoga outside. Like, I've been practicing yoga for at least 20 years. I've been practicing yoga. And I would say at least for the last 15 years, I really pretty much only practice outside year round. Um, my threshold was it had to be at least 40 degrees. I've raised that threshold to about 50 degrees. So yesterday I got it in. It was a beautiful day. I think it reached upper 60s, but the sun was beaming. So I was really feeling it, feeling good, feeling great, feeling great. So I really want to tell y'all why I've been feeling really good. But again, these protocols that I talk about, that I share, they're really cumulative, and there's layers and levels to them. It's not something that we do one time or for one season. These things all work synergistically together. So whether it's earthing, fasting, raw foods, urine, um, yoga, breathing, qigong. I'm not a qigong practicer. I mean, I love yoga too much. That's my thing. But I mentioned qigong because it's a powerful. I definitely co-sign for it. Like, if that's your thing, then that's fantastic. Again, it's about just really keeping that energy flowing. So again, sleep. We talked about sleep with the winter solstice. What else? Am I missing anything? Well, I talked about yoga. So exercise, all of these things, really there's layers and layers, and we practice them religiously, faithfully, without fail. Season after season, day after day, we are practice. It really needs to become just the everyday fabric of your life. Your body is truly your temple. You want to treat it as this is the only thing you got, and this is one shot deal. We really need to value it as a priceless vehicle, and we want to care for it, give it the best care ever. So part of my job and my duty as as a I guess, a leader in this, is to really inspire you to, we're such, we're so easily swayed and influenced, especially, I mean, if the whole scamdemic was, if you didn't learn anything, their attempt to censor information and label it misinformation, and even the threats and the warnings and all the things that happen to even my personal outlets, let you know how powerful all of our voices are, and yeah, so that's just me rambling. Again, I'm really excited about tonight because after I talk about this spring equinox, I want to talk about like some current events, and I want to get into like my story as a trader slash investor. There's a lot. I mean, unless you really, really know me, you've known me for a long time. This is something that I've been practicing for a very long time, even longer than this, raw foods and things I've been doing for over 2 decades. So I want to talk about that tonight. I mean, it's something that's again, I'm gonna save all that. So spring equinox. Well, we've said it a few times. If you've been following and following my message, the spring, the theme of the spring is that we want to have both our feet on the gas pedal. That's the theme. When I thought about this especially this spring, with everything, all the stagnancy we've had in the last few years, it's like now that we're sort of coming back and we're getting back into our flow, not just individually, but as communities and families, and everything from everything. We, really putting both feet on the gas, full throttle, full speed ahead. This is the time. This is that time of the year. When I think about the whole year, our whole solar cycle as a continuum, it becomes clear, or it becomes, I gain a little bit more insight every year. And with this particular year, we start again, the cycle begins with the winter solstice. Now I know, some people believe that the year actually begins with the spring equinox, and I would say that's correct. But I also would say it's also correct that the year also begins with the winter solstice. I would say also that is correct, because the reason that, at least for me, it hits more to home that we begin with the winter solstice. Why? Because one, it's an extreme with the cycle. It's an extreme. It is zero. It's ground zero, is point zero. Where the spring equinox, again, equinox being equal, because in our flat earth paradigm, yes, I said flat earth, the flat earth paradigm, the sun is circling us at its greatest with its greatest circumference. It is like basically going over, is making circles over our southern hemisphere, or our outer hemisphere outside of the equator. Okay. And so what's happening with the spring equinox is that it has reached the equator. That's where we get the Tropic of Cancer. That's why they made those lines. The Tropic of Capricorn, it was over the Tropic of Capricorn, in December. Really the Tropic of Sagittarius, if you really want to get technical. But we all know the Tropic of Capricorn. The Tropic of Capricorn is a path that the sun makes over the flat plane Earth during the winter solstice. In approximately 30 days, that is in that constellation. Okay. And after the winter, after that December 21st, so that's where we go in hard with the fasting, with the meditation. We're really trying to reprogram the spirit. Reprogram the spirit, because we use the mind to reprogram the spirit, because the spirit is really in control. See, the mind is like, I'm using my mind to talk. I'm saying things. I'm not gonna know. But it's like my spirit is really talking, because through my mind, but it's the spirit. That's what we are. The mind is what we think we are, or what we think. It's the conscious. But but the spirit is what we are. When we think about food, they say you are what you eat. Now, if you eat differently for long enough, you change the spirit, because you change the physical body. All right, so it works the same way with the mind. We send it, we reprogram it. We auto suggest, meditation, all of those things. Those things are most effective, and the spirit is most fertile with the winter solstice. Okay, so very powerful information. Something that we should really implement in our lives. And so now, fast forward, we got 3 months, 3 months from the winter solstice. We're here on March 21st next week. And it's also a new moon, or is it a full moon? No, it's a new moon. New moon, March 21st, along with the spring equinox. We got this new energy. We feel it, and like I said, it's basically, I always look at, if I had to project it onto a 24-hour clock, we got the winter solstice being 12 midnight. So if the winter solstice is 12 midnight, then the spring equinox is 6 a.m. So at 6 a.m. we up. Again, the day or the year begins, I believe, and it vibrates more with me with the winter solstice. And so therefore, by the time, that's what I'm saying, you wake up in the morning, you got 2 feet on the gas. It is time to be full out maximum. And the thing is that we really want to, like, from March to June, we are all out with our energy. The wind is at our back, and we want to be basically everything that we've built mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and otherwise. We are now executing. We're putting into motion from this time all the way into our summer solstice. Now, what happens at our summer solstice is that, again, now the sun has reached its inner circle. It is directly over us, in the what? Tropic of Cancer. It is actually making that circle over the Tropic of Cancer. That's what that line is, right? And then after the summer solstice starts to move back out to the equator. So we reach the fall equinox. But the thing is that has reached a maximum, it's reached an extreme, and then the energy begin to become weaker. See, the sun is at the soul of every one of us. And this is why astrology, the art of astrology, is so powerful, because where our sun sign is, that's where our soul, that's where our fire is, our passion for life. And that's what we really want to aspire to be, and to like that's where the fire burns, just like the sun. See, the moon is really more of the spirit in terms of who we emotionally are, but it's the sun that's where, so when we look at the sun as especially our movements throughout the year, and especially doing this quarterly maintenance, because the thing is that even though we have 2 feet on the gas, it's still going to be good to take at least 3-4 days next week, if you want to do it this weekend, if it works better with your schedule, to really give the body a nice reset maintenance. at least 3 to 4 days of very minimal to little to no digestion. So fresh juices, coconut water, is what I recommend. If you're into water fasting, dry fasting, or if you want to just do like fruits, you could do a fruit fast. Like fruits will do the job. That's just packaged water. Like or a combination of all of that. But once you do, I don't recommend like a salad if you want to just keep it raw, because that will really slow the digestion down. Vegetables are pretty hard to break down, and usually with a salad, you're going to add some fat with it, like avocado or some kind of dressing. So I'm like, look, the salads and the fats and the proteins and all that stuff is going to be there. Let's take a break from that. Let's get sky high for at least 3-4 days. Give the body a well-deserved, well-needed rest. Because the springtime is also, as far as the organ system, is the liver. And the liver is one of our most valued possessions. It's one of our hardest working digestive organs that has big function in the body, huge function in the body. And this is the time where, when we do the fast, the liver is saying thank you, because the liver is activated during this time. All right. And so that's the spring equinox. I want to get into my other half of the what I want to talk about tonight, and get into some current events. But yes, I actually do consultations. I had a question here on Instagram. So you can send me a DM if anyone's interested in I do all types of counseling and consultations. If anyone's interested, shoot me a DM and we could make a schedule for sure. All right. So now I want to really push forward into some current events. And if you've been following, I don't know if y'all all are aware, but we had some banks go down. And I shared a few posts through my social media, just making suggestions and recommendations what could happen. I mean, I think we pretty much all use banks on some level. So it's very relevant, and money is relevant. And so I really want to take this time. I've thought about this for a long time. This is something that really runs deep with me. Goes back to my days when I was at Howard University. But it even really started before then, if I go back to my earliest memories. But while I was at Howard, there were a few classmates of mine. It was sort of like a little group we had. And this is in the 90s, so to give you a time reference. And I had started to really get into, because with the 90s, that's really when the internet was really starting. That was really, most of us were just getting emails, and we had dial-up internet. Dial-up was like, you actually used a landline to dial. You actually heard the phone say, like, the dial tone, and it would actually dial a number, and then it would go, and then you were connected. We got all this Wi-Fi now, and but anyway, I'm just trying to really paint the picture. It was a thing, with the internet, with online day trading, and it was something that I was really interested in. It really piqued my interest, and in fact, I can say that even my time in grad school, I have a degree in mechanical engineering from Howard. For those of y'all didn't know, and just during my time there, I really was starting to get into, like, learning how to do this, how to take my money and make trades and make money. Okay. So, it's like I can't get on IG nowadays and see somebody marketing their trading course or system. And I'm sure y'all have seen that as well. But yeah, so but back then I was really like, passionate about it. And I was reading, any books. I mean, good there's thousands of books, probably hundreds of thousands of books that talk about all different types of stuff. And just at the time, it was just like really just, okay, I'm in the sea, and and where do I go? How do I figure this thing out? Like, what's the first step? And I just started, I would just go into a bookstore and just kind of, they always had like an investment section. And I would just like see what I gravitated to, and I would pick up the book and read it. So that started my journey. And I came into the market as a, I guess, quote unquote trader during the late 90s. Now, in the late 90s, this was the boom of the internet stocks, the .com boom and bust, or the .com boom. I can remember stocks like Yahoo and Amazon and Microsoft, and I could go on and on, Qualcomm. And I mean, some of these stocks would just like go up and up and up. And I mean, it was just really powerful to be able to start to take money and make money. And it was really fast. Obviously, it was very how can I say, almost exhilarating. I mean, like a casino, like you win in. But it's like, obviously you're thinking like you're smart, you're making these choices like, okay, of course, like I'm taking my money, and because obviously it's like, I mean, that's what we do in business. If you're an entrepreneur, real estate, so in different levels, we invest in stock, in the stock market to and then I was also learning about like the difference between investing in the stock and in a stock option. Stock options were a lot more riskier, and of course a lot more rewarding if you were right. So again, this was just part of the journey. And I mean, after losing some money, I started my first account. I had put $2,000 in. It dwindled down to a couple $100, and I was like, all right, let me try this again. And started reading a couple more books. And then what really got me what really put me on the right path was, let me see, do I have that book? So I'm gonna share some of my library. This is actually the first book that got me on the right track, was How to Make Money in Stocks, by William O'Neill. He is the founder of, our two most popular finance newspapers. Is, of course, everyone knows the Wall Street Journal, but he founded Investors Business and Business Daily. So in this book, he breaks down his system, which Investors Business Daily is built off of this book. And again, that's How to Make Money in Stocks. So really, this is one of the first books that, well, I mean, I've read a lot of books, but this book has sort of stayed with me even up to today. Um, I don't read Investors Business Daily currently, but I mean, that's a good place to start. I mean, this really is a great book. And, when I learned that, it finally demystified a lot of things that I was doing wrong. And I really started to implement some of the strategies in here. And I started to have some success. And, part of that success, really, actually a big part of that success, you know, I I can honestly say this. I would have not become Chef Kepra without my ability to trade in the stock market. What is that? What do I mean by that? Well, while I was in grad school, I took on, a job in my engineering field, and of course, it was a great job. A six-figure job, six-figure paying job. That would have it was actually with a government agency, so I would have had all types of government perks, and I mean, y'all know the y'all. I mean, you can imagine. And during that year, this was actually exactly 20 years ago. So I had started in the 90s, had some successes, had some failures, would make money in spurts. And then 2003, 2002 into 2003, I started working at this job, and I started trading again. It was a hot market, and I said to myself, if I could be profitable in 12 months, then I'm going to walk away from my job. And I took it very seriously. I treated it as a business. In fact, I'll show you another book that actually, it was two books that I have here. I want to show you that I'm like really about this life. This was another book that was really good. Financial Freedom Through Electronic Day Trading. Financial Freedom Through Electronic Day Trading. This was really a great book, monumental book for me. There was another book called Trading the Plan. So again, a lot of great basic information that helped me during that time. Really set it up, really treat it as a business. And I made more money in 2003 trading than I did on my engineering job. And my first daughter was born that year. I wanted to stay home, and I was able to do it. And I just kind of pivoted and, started, because I was already raw for a couple of years, and I was starting to make food, and people started to, I started to build my reputation, you know, um, making food. I was doing classes, and really with the trading, it was something that I committed myself to, but I almost felt like I was more destined to make food and to really share the raw food lifestyle. While I had a lot of success, I made a lot of money. I think at that time I was like well into six-figure territory, like liquid six-figure, like I had like that kind of money that I could just basically do whatever I want. Um, but again, it's really hard if you don't really, it takes a long time to really learn how to sustain that kind of money if you're taking like heavy risks. So, and I've always been like, I have no aversion to risk taking. I kind of have sort of a renegade spirit in that. And while it has served me good in some instances, it's definitely a double-edged sword, and it has like come back to haunt me in a lot of ways too, which is what I'm getting to. um yeah, so yeah, those are some of the books that were really good for me. Again, I've read a lot of books on this, and really just to bring it to current day. um Well, I'll just talk about, because I want to talk about Bitcoin specifically, especially in relation to these banks, because um, in and again, this is coming off of because in early 2000s, well, one of the stocks that again allowed me to walk away from my job that I had pretty much at the beginning of when it came out was Google. I had at one point I had over 3,000 shares of Google, And so had I just held it and forgot about it, that would have been multi million dollars. Like, trust that. Like, but I was trading, I was like in and out, and um again, just really trying to find my way, as an investor slash trader. But I've always sort of had a knack. In fact, I almost forgot to mention this. I even had a service where people were paying me monthly for me to share my picks and my moves and what I was doing as a trader. So these were some of the successes I had early in my trading days back in the early 2000s, over almost like 20 years ago. And so, getting into the raw food, and started doing retreats, and then I started my Mojo Juice club. I wrote my book. Where's my book? Yeah, I know my book, Paradise Health. Um, so I just kind of would dabble with the trading here and there. But during like that latter part of the 2000s, there was obviously a lot of buzz. Everyone was talking about gold and silver. And gold had went from a price. Actually, gold and silver were the best performing assets between 2000 and 2010, that decade, 2000 to 2010. It was the best performing asset. It done better than any sector, it was the best performing asset. Gold, I think at the beginning of that decade, was somewhere around $200 to $300 an ounce, and it had reached a peak of about $1,800 to $1,900. So y'all could do the math on what that percentage was. Silver did even better. Silver was at like maybe $1, $2, I think $3 maybe. And by 2010, it had reached a high of $50. So why did gold and silver do well? Well, I mean, if you understand money and you understand money, how money is created. I did a presentation on gold and silver and how our debt money system is created. And you understand that all of our money debt instrument. And really, it shows you how powerful money is, because the two presidents that have gotten assassinated, they got assassinated for one reason: because they created their own money. Lincoln created the greenback, and JFK created the I forget what it's called, but he created his own money. They took him out, and 3 months later, they took that money out of circulation. So this is a very revolutionary, powerful, I mean, money is at the seat of everything. And so, I've taken, upon myself to not only learn this tool about trading and investing, but to understand money and why gold and silver was doing what it was doing. Now, after 2008 financial crisis, we had the creation of Bitcoin. And really, when I first started to hear about Bitcoin, I mean, I was doubting it from the start. And I said, man, it's got to be, yeah, again, because I understand how powerful this money game is, especially to the elites. And it's like, how can they have a form of internet money just sort of take control, or just come into the system and become as powerful as it is? And so I just really doubted it from the beginning. And I would hear about it, and it wasn't. And I was actually a big time silver investor. From the time, I mean, unfortunately, I didn't participate in that run in the first decade of the 2000, like when silver went from $3 to $50 and gold, did its run. I really got in at the latter part of that. So I was buying silver really for those 8 years, between 2010 and 2018. And I would try to buy at least an ounce of silver. In fact, I still have an ounce. I'm gonna show y'all. I got it was the 225th anniversary coin. I don't know if y'all could see that. Yeah, y'all could see that on Instagram. 225 years. This is an actual silver coin, and it had, for Lady Liberty, they decided to dedicate it to a black woman. So there she is. So that's the only silver coin I have left. I had a bunch of American Eagles and silver buffaloes. I had coins from all over the world that was minted in Africa, China, uh, all over. And so this is the one I kept. This is, hey, there you go. The Black Lady Liberty. So I said, I can't sell this. So yeah, I sold all of it except for that. And something happened in 2018 where it's like, let me look into this Bitcoin thing. Let me prove my doubts correct. And really, the deeper I dove into it, the more the light, especially as a math engineering trained mental person, I was like, whoa, this is powerful. I even went to a Bitcoin ATM here in DC, put $50 into it, scanned the app on my phone. 10 minutes later, it's like you got $50 worth of Bitcoin. It just I just had to make it make sense. But really, what Bitcoin, I think, to explain it in really simple terms, just like I'm communicating over this medium, right? You can see me, and yeah, it might be over YouTube or Instagram or whatever, or Facebook. But what Bitcoin allows us to do is transfer, because really all money is, and this is why I say gold and silver, while valuable as a metal, and it has properties that are valuable. We can melt it down. It could be used in all different types of technology and applications. Obviously, silver is used in all cell phones and all technology. Gold is pretty much a store of value, but money at the end of the day is something we agree that has value. That's all money is. It could be a piece of paper, and that's all fiat currency is. It's just a piece of paper that we agree. In fact, I think it was a smart thing, because when we understand the gold standard, like actually taking the dollar off the gold standard was an efficient move. Because the thing is that if we're doing gold, like gold and silver is just not efficient to use as wealth transfer, or just as a means of transferring value. It's heavy. Is We can't travel with it. And the thing is that, so that's how banks developed, because it was like, well, I have this amount of gold, I have this amount of gold, so let me store it here because it's valuable, and let me get a receipt, and then I'll use that receipt to say, okay, here's this and here's that. The Where it became a problem is that the banks just took advantage of that and said, well, we're going to just basically create it from debt. Like, it's basically created from nothing, out of thin air. And so that was the problem. Like, gold sort of kept an accounting, in that we couldn't just expand the money supply in an infinite way. It really just kept it like, and that's why money, kept its value as long as it was tied to the gold standard. So here comes Bitcoin, and Bitcoin it became something that, with with obviously the use of the internet, now we can transmit what we agree that is value peer to peer. No bank in the middle, no middleman as PayPal, bank, Zelle, Cash App. No, it's peer to peer. Like, you have a Bitcoin wallet, I have a Bitcoin wallet, and I can send you value cross border. You could be somewhere in Africa, China, and I can send you value. You don't need Western Union. You don't need a bank wire. You don't need PayPal. You don't need any of that. It's truly a peer-to-peer system where I could send you value at any time, anywhere in the world, as long as you have internet service. This is revolutionary. And the thing is that the other thing I'll mention is that with Bitcoin, because now in cryptocurrencies, I mean, you got thousands of cryptocurrencies now, probably more than 10,000 cryptocurrencies. And Bitcoin is still unique in relation to all of the crypto verse, because Bitcoin, all of these other cryptos are basically companies, in the sense that, oh, okay, let's say I want to start my own cryptocurrency. I could do that, and I'll make decisions like any other business. And that's what all of these other cryptocurrencies are, is that, man, Bitcoin, it was created by Satoshi Nakamoto, which is he has remained anonymous, and it was ingenious because he understood the power of money, and he understood that he had to basically create this and let it be. So basically, Bitcoin is on its own. It's doing its own thing. There's an algorithm, there's a computer program, and it's basically designed to get more valuable with time. So only 21 million are going to be created, 21 million Bitcoin. Right now, 19 million of those 21 million have been created. I think the last 2 million will be created over the next 100 years or so. And that's going to be it. It's going to be 21 million Bitcoin. It's really perfect internet money that nobody can control, nobody can change, nobody can manipulate. If you have Bitcoin on a private key or a private wallet, nobody can take it from you. So, as a trader, again, now we're going to go back to, my experience as a trader. I began to see the opportunity just looking at the chart. And when I say the chart, it's like the price action versus time. So, I look at the graph, and I see the trend, I see the sentiment, I see the trend, and I see the opportunity. And then I'm understanding it as a technology, and as something that can change the world. In 2003, I paid for this guy's seminar. I flew out to Los Angeles. I paid for this guy's seminar. His name is Dan Zanger. I read about him actually, I have a copy of it. So I used to subscribe to this magazine. I'm telling you, I'm about this life. Technical analysis of stocks and commodities. And I was reading, my magazine, and I read his story. He had actually made, well, he was a swimming pool. He had a swimming pool business in Florida, and he was trading for 20 years, making money, losing money for 20 years. And after 20 years, he figured it out. But actually, he actually used the system that's outlined in this book, the first book I showed you, How to Make Money in Stocks. And Dan Zanger. So in 2000, with the internet.com boom, he took $10,000, turned it into 18 million in 18 months. And then later, with the bear market that followed, he turned that 18 million into 42 million. So I became a subscriber to his service. He had a talk. He had a lecture class in LA. I think I paid $1,000 for it, and I learned one thing. One thing from that lecture, because at the time we spent a lot of time looking at Google, right? Because Google was new on the market, and we all knew the potential. It basically changed the game with the internet. And then at the time, there was another company that was fire, Taser. We all know what tasers are, right? Get tased by the police, or somebody can have a taser. But Taser was a hot fire stock. I mean, this thing was just going vertical. And so we looked at Taser, we looked at Google, and it was 100 of us in the room. And he asked the crowd, he was like, how many of y'all use Google? And we all raised our hand. And then he said, how many of y'all have a Taser? None of us raised our hand. He was like, it's the companies that will change how we do things. Those are the companies that you want to invest in. So I'm passing that lesson off to you. I've always, like I said, that was the lesson I got from that class. So I've always tried to be forward thinking in terms of like, just like how we use this internet nowadays. I mean, I could think of many examples like, for example, Netflix, right? Most of us have Netflix, but I can remember the Blockbuster days. I can remember even the days before Blockbuster. I could even remember before the days of the VCR. That's how old I am, right? So so we've seen the evolution of like technology and how it can, because none of us have a video collection, right? Everything is streaming. It's more efficient. So you see where I'm getting at as we come into Bitcoin, as it's now an efficient technology, a money efficient technology. Gold is not efficient. Silver is not efficient. Banks are not efficient. Banks are not efficient. Even things like, I guess PayPal still has some value because they will let you transfer funds internationally. But what are they charging you? Okay. So Bitcoin is definitely a technology that will change the game. It has already changed the game, and it's here to stay. I mean, Bitcoin is more valuable than some major companies like Visa. And it's been around. I believe the first block was mined in 2009. So I mean, it's 2023. So it's here to stay. The crypto universe is here to stay. I mean, there's actually, I think the whole crypto market is worth $1 trillion. Yeah, I believe it's worth especially with the spikes we've had, the increases we've had recently. So let me bring this all together. Last weekend we had the fall of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. And I was actually listening to a podcast, and they actually showed 30 more banks that was in worse condition than the two banks that actually failed. And now our Federal Reserve Chair, Jesse Powell, I think it's Jerome Powell, he's planning to raise interest rates, which again makes it more difficult for banks to do business because the cost of money is getting higher as they raise the interest rates. So basically, again, it's a trickle down effect on the whole economy, on the real estate market, especially. Companies can't borrow money for as cheap, and it's really putting the pressure on banks. So what's been happening is that people have been losing confidence. A lot of people lost money with these banks. These were not no like small time community banks. These were two major, especially Silicon Valley Bank. I shared a post on my IG showing the 30 companies that had accounts with these banks, or at least with SVB, Silicon Valley Bank. And right in sync was that you had the whole banking industry; those stocks were shooting down sharply, and Bitcoin was rising up sharply. Now, one thing I also want to share, because I gave a presentation actually live here, I think through IG and YouTube, right before the last bull market we had in Bitcoin. And I was ready. I was in there, and I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I'm just gonna put it out there. Yeah, that year, which was it, 20? It was the end of 2020 going into 2021. And I knew Bitcoin was about to pop. I was ready. Uh and I found success in them 4 or 5 months that Bitcoin went from a price about, I was definitely in at around 15,000. When I gave that presentation, it was teetering around 22, 23,000, somewhere around there. And then it eventually went up to 65, almost 65,000 by mid-April. And by that time, I was a Bitcoin millionaire. I was a Bitcoin millionaire for about 2 months. I did not expect that. I did not see that coming. And I'm not a millionaire today. Far from it. Yeah, I gave pretty much all of it back. Yes, that's the embarrassing part. But I'm still here to tell the story. I mean, to go through something like that, to really experience that. I mean, obviously there's so many nuances, there's so much. I mean, I told myself that when I do this again, because I am going to do this again, like find that level of success, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to share my whole story, all of this knowledge and experience. So really, I don't know what this is going to, lead to. Again, I wanted to really, again, share my story, share the I guess the brief success that I had. I mean, it's one thing to make $1 million, and it's a whole nother thing to lose it. So I know what that feels like. I feel, actually, I have no regrets. If I could go back, I would do some things differently, but I've learned so much through that experience. I really wouldn't. I really can honestly say I really wouldn't change a thing. And I'm here today to tell a story. I know I know in my bones that I'm gonna be able to re-engineer that success. And the thing is that I really I'm really being transparent to share my story, because I really want to inspire you. Now, trading is something that is obviously a high risk venture. It's something that, I mean, I'm 20, almost 25 years in doing this, and I'm still learning. But like one of my customers said, look, from you, I'm buying 20, like he has his account set up where every day he's buying $20 of Bitcoin every day, $600 a month, dollar cost averaging. Simple, simple. And it's just automatic. He don't even think about it. It don't even matter what the price is. Go up or go down. His money is getting stronger. And that's what I would recommend for at the very minimum. For I mean, we have to, to think about somebody like Robert Kiyosaki. I mean, I was a big rich dad poor dad guy. I had the game, cash flow. It was cash flow 101, and then we had cash flow 202. I read all the books. And Robert Kiyosaki today is a big Bitcoin guy. Yeah, he buys gold and he buys silver, but he's definitely on team Bitcoin. So and he says it all the time. It's like, look, we have to, just like in our health, we have to take responsibility. We can't think that there's someone here to save us, and it's just not enough for us to go out and work and save money. You are getting killed. It is no different than going out and taking the vaccine or taking some, medication for your pain or your discomfort. It is no different. And really, I just wanted to really share my story to just, again, inspire you to, again, to become like, most traders. And again, like for me, I was able to make that amount of money because I didn't have a lot of money to start with, and lose that amount in the beginning because I was trading Bitcoin in a very high risk, high reward way. I just happened to be on the right side of the momentum. And that's what allowed me to get those type of gains in a short amount of time. But of course, it went as fast as it almost came. So again, it's not something that I would recommend to anybody. But what I would recommend is, again, to just treat it like a savings account. It was just like how I was buying silver for 8 years without fail. I had close to almost 1,000 ounces of silver, which I think would be about, I think that would roughly be about $20,000. Just to give you a reference, if you don't know the price of silver. I haven't looked at the price of silver in a long time, but my guess is that it's around $20 an ounce. It's probably more than that. I'm sure it's not worth more than $30 an ounce, but if it was worth $30 an ounce, then that'd be $30,000. But like I said, once the light came on, I said, I got to get on Team Bitcoin. I sold all my silver. Just to even, I sold it through an online silver gold dealer. And just to be able to take all that silver, package it in a box, put the label and the tape. It was really heavy to pay for the shipping. That's all inefficient. Bitcoin, I could go, even while I'm doing this talk, I can go right online and go into my account and press a button, and I can sell, I can buy, I could do whatever. I could send it from account to account, because that's what I do now. Like basically, like right now, if I'm really trying to get into crypto, really the probably what most people are familiar with is Coinbase. They use Coinbase to at least buy crypto. And Coinbase is really cool in terms of like connecting with your existing bank account. So that's what I would recommend. I don't do my major trading on Coinbase because Coinbase doesn't allow for the high risk strategies that I utilize, which again, I've done over years and years. I have a ton of experience. So I don't recommend it. Not going to talk about it here. But I'm in a spirit of sharing and growing, and each one teach one, because that's what this is all about. I'm on here and I share my time and my energy because it helps me. And just like I share with that, like if anyone wants to really take it to another level, feel free to reach out to me, email or DM or whatever. You can reach out to me, and certainly, because they say you can only retain maybe 10% of what you read, and but if you teach it, then you got to master it. So the more I share and the more I teach and the more I, then the better that makes me. And then, I help you and you help yourself and you help somebody else. And that's how we all, because again, if you know anything about this world we live in by now, if you are not totally deaf, dumb, and blind, zombied out, then you know that there is a powerful elite that wants to basically kill us slowly or fast. So whether it's through the food, whether it's through the drugs, whether it's through the chemtrails, blocking the sun, etc., etc., etc. And money is a game. It's not an end all be all, but it is a tool for us to basically have options. And if we have options, we can make better choices for not only ourselves, but our loved ones, our family, our community. It's a game. We living in this look, I'm light with it. Like as long as I've been studying conspiracy theories, I've gone deep down the rabbit hole. It's really in some ways it would even stump me because I'm like, man, there's so much evil and there's so much evil. It's just like these folks that have all of this infinite money and infinite power, but it's a game. And it should never affect how we love. Of course, we got to if we don't want to become victim to their game, we got to be hip. We got to be wide awake and well aware of what they're trying to do. And once we become aware and your light is on, so this message is for the light seekers. This message is for those of y'all that's trying to get, because I say trading took me, even though I had a great engineering job 20 years ago, but trading allowed me to get off the plantation. It was still the plantation. It was a high class plantation, but it was still a plantation nonetheless. And I got to do something that, with raw foods and all the things that I was doing with that, something that was more purposeful, something that I was able to really not only benefit myself by following this diet and lifestyle, but to benefit others and to make a difference in the world. Trading allowed me to do that. And now I'm looking for trading to even take me and my loved ones and community to a whole nother level. Take me completely out the matrix. So that's my goal. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and this is great. Like, I'm really glad that I was able to get this out. If y'all want more content on the trading, again, I have an engineering background, like at least with my secondary education. So a lot of these books was like, I love reading about I love talking about health, but like this technical aspect, like the technical side of myself, that's how I was really able to get into this type of craft. And it was really able to, I've had some great, at least glimpses of success as I've shared. And really now, so let me just give my forecast and my strategy, at least for the next year, and then moving into next year. Because right now, what I've noticed with crypto, I've been really following it closely since 2018. So this year marks 5 years. And what's interesting about that is that Bitcoin and the whole cryptoverse has been following a 4-year cycle. So it's like 3 years of up and 1 year of down. So I've been following it, and for these last 5 years. Last year, 2022, was the year down. And now 2023 is year 1. So we're back to, that was year 4. 2022 was year 4 of the year. The last year is the down year, and now we're now we're in year one, and we're up, and it's up. I mean, if you look at the price, like it's up. Like I think we started the year somewhere around. I know it was below 20,000. I think it had got down to like 16 to 17,000 Bitcoin, and now it's at. Let me look at it. It's over 27,000 right at press time. So my projection, because Bitcoin has been loyal to the time cycle, and I love that because I'm all about cycles. And I see, again, this is my projection. This is not financial advice. This is all entertainment. Let me just say that. I should have said that at the beginning. I don't want none of y'all to sue me. Again, this is all financial entertainment. But my projection is we'll see an increase from now till June, and that'll be the top for the year. And then we'll chop basically sideways downward into next year. And then next year, Bitcoin will do a halving cycle. And I'm not gonna, again, I would if you're really serious about learning about Bitcoin, just Google Bitcoin white paper. The white paper is basically the document that came out that explain what Bitcoin is, and it's not very long. It's an easy read, and I would recommend, if you're serious about this, you're serious about your financial freedom. One thing about Bitcoin is that you become, it is sovereign money. Sovereign money. Like you are at the top of your own. We all know the pyramid schemes, right? You own one Bitcoin, and you are at the top of your own pyramid scheme. You own, if you own a Bitcoin. And the thing is that I don't think you can say that about any other cryptocurrency, because they all have people that are pulling the strings. I mean, we've seen what happened. If you've been following the cryptoverse, we've seen what happened with FTX. They had their name on the Miami Heat arena, FTX arena, and that's all gone. Actually, I think that well, there's been a number of failures, because the thing is that, I mean, greed is always going to be, just like every other emotion. Greed is one hell of a powerful emotion. So okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up. I think I said everything I wanted to say. But yeah, so reach out to me if you're interested in more information. I hope that you all do your 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, even up to 7-day spring equinox fast. I'm gonna be doing something. I almost fasted today and was gonna actually take it into the weekend, because I fast every weekend anyway. But at the last minute, it was maybe around 7-8 o'clock, I did have a meal. It was a small one, and so that took me off my little high I was feeling. So yeah, and the thing is that when we look into, again, everything I talked about in the beginning, as far as like, really propelling yourself into these spring months. This is when the wind is at our back. I mean, we ride the wave into the summer solstice. The summer solstice, the energy starts to weaken. It starts to wane, and we're on cruise control. We got momentum, and we carry it out in the summer, and then in the fall months is really when we really turn it down. We go into reflection mode, and we reflect on the past year. But this is the time right now to put both feet on the gas pedal. And that's why I feel like the Bitcoin cycle right now will propel into, like, I'm looking for a strong spring rally. And if everything goes as planned, I'm going to actually, like, if I see it do what I think it will do, I will actually cash out. Cause yeah, I'm presently in. I'm all in right now as we speak. And I will be cashing out somewhere between May and June, and then waiting for, the halving cycle, next year. Bitcoin should sort of um, bottom out, and then that'll be time for a great re-entry. But again, this is all sophisticated stuff game that I'm giving y'all right now. I think at the very minimum, it should be, I mean, I could pull out 4 books behind me that talk about, the first step of wealth creation is the habit of saving. The habit of saving. So we all working, we all getting something, or we should be anyway. And there's no excuse, because if you're making $1, for every dollar that you make, at least 10% you should be paying yourself. Kiyosaki talks about it. All of the books from the beginning of time that talk about wealth, pay yourself first. It is the first step to wealth creation. At least 10%. If you could do 15, 20%, great. That's fantastic. But at least for every dollar that you make, 10 cents should be going to you. And that should be going to your savings. Like, if you're spending all of the money that you're making, then you're an economic slave. That makes you an economic slave. You're in slavery. It's even worse than slavery, because some of y'all spending more than what you're making, like with your debt, and so it doesn't matter. You paying yourself takes you out of slavery, and then over time you accumulate those savings, and then it's time to put that money to work. And so all of us can do this on some level or another. And I hope that y'all were able to get something out of this. I'm going to go to sleep. I've been up since 4 this morning, and I got to wake up in a couple hours. But I'm going to get my rest. Trust that, because, as we talked about, sleep. Like, sleep is more important than even what and how we eat. It is the repair. It is the recharge. It is the energy giver. We don't get energy from food. We don't get energy from any type of stimulant. If anything that is working against us, we get energy from sleep. And the more you get, the better. If you could sleep 10 hours, I'm jealous. I wish I could. Now, Sunday is my sleep-in day, so that's right around the corner. I'll get at least 6-7 hours tonight, so that'd be good for me. And but no, I hope y'all enjoyed. If you're on YouTube, give me a like, and if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to the channel. My Instagram family, appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate the love and the energy. I didn't really have if y'all had questions, just shoot me an email, a DM, and would love to exchange with y'all. Again, reminder also, somebody asked me about consultation. I'm available for that too. So all right, peace, light, and love. I will see y'all on the next one. Happy spring equinox. I love y'all. I will see y'all soon. Peace, love.